Hi everyone, Brandon Bell here, baritone resident artist at Utah Opera, and today I'm really excited to guide you all through step one of learning an Italian art song, which is the rhythm. And so for today, you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need your music, obviously. You're also going to want to have a pencil and maybe even a highlighter, if that'll help you out as well. So, the first step of learning the rhythm to a song is examining your score. And so what I want you to do is I want you to take your score and I want us to take note of a couple of things. So my first question is, what is the time signature of this piece? And if you notice, right at the beginning of the piece, there's a little C, which means common time, or 4/4, which means there are 4 beats in each measure of the piece, and the quarter note gets the beat. So the first thing to take note of when learning a piece of music's rhythm is the time signature. The second thing I want you to take note of is the tempo, or the tempo marking. And so at the top of our music as well, we see something that says larghetto. Larghetto is an Italian word, and that word means fairly slow. So that'll tell you how the tempo that we're going to be performing this piece. And also on our music that we've given you, it also tells us that quarter note equals 60, which will be really important when we start working with our metronome. The next two things that I want us to take note of are changes in the time signature or meter, as well as changes in the tempo. So if you look through your music really quickly, you'll notice that there aren't any changes in our meter or time signature, but we do have a couple of changes in our tempo. So we have some ritardandos, or some slowing downs on measure 20, and we also have an a tempo right after that. So that's going to be really important for us to take note of in learning this piece and learning the rhythms. So if you've got that, it's now time to move on to step number 2, which is marking your beats. Now, when I'm learning a piece across the board, especially some with some tricky rhythms, I love to mark my beats in my score because that helps me know exactly where the beats are. If we have some tricky rhythms, like some dotted rhythms like we have in this piece, or some little trills. So, like we noted, this song is in common time, or 4/4, which means there are 4 strong beats in each measure. So, what I like to do is, I like to either take my pencil and go to my score and mark down every beat in each measure. So I'll show you a little bit of what I did in this score. So, right here you can see, on top of these measures, I put a little tick mark where every beat is. So, you'll see right here, there's 2 beats for that half note, 1 tick mark for the quarter note, 1 tick mark for the dotted 8th and 16th, and then we go on to the second measure. Same thing, a mark for each beat. And what that does is that helps me, when I'm looking at my music, know exactly where the beats are falling on each different part of the rhythm, each rhythmic pattern. Another thing that I like to do, if marking on top of the line isn't enough for you, I'll take my highlighter and mark through the line. So you'll see down here, same idea, I still marked the beats, but I marked through the music with a highlighter. So you'll see 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And so I want you to do that for your entire score. So go through the entire score and mark where the beats fall, okay? Alrighty. Now that we've marked all of our beats in the song, I think we are now finally ready to learn the rhythms. So, our song, Caro is kind of divided into 3 different parts. We have our opening section with our original melody, which I'll call our A section. Then in the middle we have a little bit of a different melody and rhythm, different material that we're really learning and singing, so I'll call that our B section. And then back towards the end of the song, we kind of go back to the original melody and rhythms. But it's a little bit different, so I'll call that our A prime section. So I want us to go through and mark where those different sections are so we'll know what I'm talking about. So measure 4, when we start singing the beginning of the vocal line, that'll be our A section. So you'll see right here, this is where the vocal line begins, Caro. That'll be our A section. Our B section will start at measure 14, and that's with the text Il tuo fedele. If you don't know the Italian yet, that's fine, because we're not there and are learning the song yet. So I'll show you exactly where that section is. You're going to look right for these words right here, Il tuo fedele. That'll be our B section starting at measure 14. And then our return to A, or our A prime, starts right in the middle of measure 21 when we start back with Caro mio ben again. And you'll really know these sections when we learn our rhythms, because you'll notice that rhythm returns again. So here is that third section where it starts with Caro mio ben again. Okay, now let's start learning our rhythms. So we're going to start with clapping out the rhythms. Really under tempo. We're not even going to worry about a metronome or anything yet. We just want to get comfortable with how many beats are in the measures. So we know that our time signature told us there are 4 beats in each measure, and the quarter note gets the beat. And something really interesting about this song in particular is that the vocal line actually starts on beat 3. A lot of times we think that our songs, when we start singing, we come right in on our downbeat or our beat 1, but this song starts on beat 3 for the vocal line. So we're going to clap our vocal line, and we're going to try to get through section A, and we'll maybe do it a couple of times together before we move on to section B. So I'm going to start on measure 4. Notice that there are going to be 4 measures of introduction. But since we aren't learning the piano part yet, we're just going to start on the measure of our vocal line for right now, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about counting the introduction. So remember that our vocal line starts on beat number 3, okay? So we're going to clap together. 1, 2. So that right there is the first phrase of the song. So when you're clapping these rhythms, make sure that when you're holding, say, an extended note, so we have some half notes here, instead of, you're not going to clap again, but just pulse your hands for that second beat that's being held. You can do the same thing for rests too. So we're going to start back again, and we're going to go through the entire section A, okay? 1, 2, 3. Four, 1, 2. And that is the A section. Very nice. So, once you've gotten that down and practiced it a couple of times, we'll move on to our B section, which starts on measure 14. And just like our A section, it starts on beat 3 of the bar. So, same idea, I'm going to count us in, and then we're going to clap through our B section, okay? 1, 2. And we're going to stop there because now we're getting back into our A prime section, which is very similar to the beginning our A section the same rhythm, and it'll also be the same melody. So, we're going to keep going with our A prime section, our return to our original section. That's going to be measure 21. And so, again, you'll notice that this new section starts on beat 3. Now, something to note is that you'll be going directly from our B section to our return to A without a break. You'll notice that earlier on, we had a break in between our A and our B sections. But we're going to start right on our A prime section. So, measure 21, third beat, I'll count us in. 1, 2. And that is the entire rhythm of the vocal line for Caro mio ben. Okay? So, let's clap through the entire thing one time all the way throughout. And this time, we're going to also observe the introduction and the time in between. So what we'll do for those moments is we'll just count them out, right? We'll count them out together, and then when we start clapping, then we can do our counting inside of our heads, okay? So, you'll notice that the first measure of our piece is actually not a full measure. It actually only has beats 3 and 4. So that's why I'm going to start the count with 3, 4, okay? This is the introduction. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Three, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. B section. 1, 2. A. Three, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is the entire rhythm to Caro mio ben. So, now that we've gotten it learned and clapped, I think the next step is to try and use a metronome and to sing the to speak the rhythms on maybe a syllable like da or D, any syllable of your liking. I'm going to use da, and just practice it with the metronome and see if you can also keep that steady beat without clapping as well. So, I have a little metronome on my keyboard here, but if you don't have a metronome like on a keyboard or anything, there are some apps you can download on your phone that you can also Google it and find metronomes online. So, I'm going to set my metronome to 40, and so that'll be, the quarter note is getting 40, so that's a little bit under what our music says, because remember our music says we're going to be quarter note equals 60, so that'll be a good way for us to practice our metronome under the tempo that's in our music. So, remember, we're starting on beats 3 in this song. So when I touch it, we'll be counting 1, 2, 3 is when the music starts. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. 3, 4. 1, 2. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. A prime. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And get in the habit now of counting out all of that introduction and all of the outro of the song, because those are very, very important moments in our song. We have to keep those in our brains because we have to remember that the song doesn't end just because we're finished singing, right? So, that is my process for learning rhythm. So, if you practice that a couple of times, you'll have the rhythm down in no time. But before we end this lesson, I want to mention one more thing that we did talk about at the very, very beginning, and those were our changes in tempo. So, you know how I talked about our ritarando in the end of our B section? So, going from measure 20 to 21, so our end of our B section going into our A prime section. I just want to make sure we take a time to note that because that'll kind of stretch out our counting. So, this will be easier to do when you're clapping because you can't really do a ritardando with the metronome. So, when you're practicing your clapping and you're at the end of the B section, so measures 20 and 21, make sure that you observe the ritardando and the a tempo. So I'm going to do that one time. I'm going to do the B section and the A section one time so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, this is starting with our B section on measures 14. We're going to start on beat 3. And our goal here is to observe our ritardando back into our a tempo at measures 20 and 21. So this is measure 14, okay? 1, 2, 3. Ritardando 3, 4, 1, 2, a tempo 3, 4, and 1, 2. So you want to make sure you start incorporating that change in tempo as part of your rhythm because that's very important. You don't want to miss that when you're learning the melody and the text. So start implementing that now. That ritardando on measures 20 and the a tempo back on measure 21. So, hopefully that helped you learn your rhythm for this song. What you want to do is you want to practice the rhythms, clapping them 2 times. Make sure you are counting those full bars of 4 and coming in on beat 3. Clapping them the full time 2 times, getting the ritardandos and the a tempos and the changes of tempo. And then get your trusty metronome and do that 2 times on a neutral syllable like da or di. And do that 2 times as well. Maybe do 1 time under tempo. So I did this one at 40. Maybe you want to start around 50. And then see if you can work your way up over the next couple of days to getting that 60, which is the tempo that we're going to want to be singing at when we do the piece. Alrighty. Signing off. Bye, everybody.